Morning, it's 9 o'clock in the morning here. I've just come outside to do a little intro video to the job I'm going to be showing you on the channel today, and it's pouring it down outside. We're actually over in Scarborough. It was a nice day yesterday morning, and I came and started Matthew off, left him to it. Got the guys there working on the apartments, and yeah, I'm back today to get the consumer unit on the wall and make sure we're got the SPD in place for this particular flat, because it's the one we've got to get sorted most quickly by the end of the week. So we're pushed with this one so the client can use it as a base for the rest of the renovation, just with some safe and reliable power, because as you'll see in the video, some of it's a little bit sketchy. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy the video. I'm going to jump inside now with Matthew and get on with a few bits and pieces. He's agreed to go on film, so I'll show a few bits of what he's doing as well. And you can join me in telling him how he's doing it all wrong. All right, catch you later. Cheers. Hi, welcome back to the channel. We're on a job now. It's an apartment complex, and I'm just going to run you around one of the apartments and show you what we've been up to. Matthew made a start yesterday. Just coming to see where he's up to and help him out on this one. It's a nice Victorian building up in Scarborough, and there's quite a bit of other work taking place in this property in full. But this is one of the apartments we can get on with at the moment, and if I spin you around I'll give you a walkabout. Oh, it's a lovely, let's zoom this right out, this lovely curving up here. I mean, these ceilings are huge. The customer's very conscious of the ceiling, doesn't want any damage to it at all, so we're having to work from above. Fortunately they do in the whole building, so that's not an issue. So this is the front room. Lovely view out to sea there. You can see that, but a nice view right down to the bay in Scarborough, minus the scaffold. That'll look lovely. And in here, the wiring is sort of maybe 1960s. Some of this apartment's been done up a little bit, and other parts of it, as you'll see, not so much. So we've still got to pop this floor up in here. Someone's popped a load of ply down, so usual problem, we're going to have to dig underneath that. But Matthew's been busy chopping out yesterday, so getting the dusty stuff out of the way. Still needs to do a bit of cleaning up actually, but you know, it's coming on. So we've got sockets going in the corners of the room, as you can see. So the client wants them. They also want these wall lights reinstating at each side of the fireplace. So we've got those to do, and then matching on this side of the wall as well. There used to be some wall lights, I don't know if you can see them there, but they want those reinstating, matched up exactly in line with the ones in the alcoves there. So you can see this is what's actually under the ply. There is actually floorboards, timber floor, so we're okay there. Matthew's popped a few up, plumber as well, so we've got some hatches. This is going to be the kitchen. It used to be a big built-in cupboard here. You see that's been stripped out, so we've got boiler's still staying there, so we've got some power to put on that wall. The client's actually marked everywhere up. Apologies for any flicker on this if there is any showing up. It's an LED light on the ceiling. So you can see he's marked up his units there, and this that wall's actually studded out, so that's changing a little bit anyway. And again, there's going to be, you can see up here on the kitchen plan, I've actually got a plan to work for before the job starts. It's almost unheard of. So we've got a breakfast bar going in, obviously power for an induction hob in there and a cooker, so we're going to be pulling some cables across to this kitchen and get it wired. I don't know how everyone else approaches kitchens, but we stick a 4mm radial on for the power. We bring a 6mm in to the oven position and a 10mm across as well for where the induction hob's going in the breakfast bar area. And it just gives the customer that flexibility for if the appliances move around, they've got reasonable chance of being able to hook it into something that'll take the load. So you can see up there, that's the original curving. That was actually boxed in behind this cupboard. So you can see this has been fitted, client thinks, in the 70s. But I mean, that is beautiful, isn't it? And I'm not sure quite why that wasn't retained. It's a shame to have that covered up, but it's obviously been stripped out from the rest of the apartment anyway, so that's the end of there. So that's the kitchen. This is the hall. It kind of leads all the way down through the property. So you can see Matthew's popped the floor up, and this gives an idea of the age. We've got the old Bakelite switches in this area, so this is a bit older at this end. Let's put the light on in the bathroom. So you can see this lovely bathroom suite. We don't have that much to do in here at the moment because there is an electric shower, but it's coming out and it's going to be off the boiler. So we just need to sort the lights and extract the fans out. Not the biggest part of the job in this room. It's a lovely old suite. See the old big spots there in the ceiling. This is all going to get overboarded in there, so we can put some nice new lighting up. This is as it leads on. That's the back door over there. And if I just spin you around here, you can see the old cable route in the floor there. When we first looked, I wondered if these lead sheath cables were just left in after the last rewire. My thinking was, because it's sort of apartments, flats, whatever we're calling them, they weren't maybe sure if some of them were powering the floor below, so they've left them in. But actually, upon looking inside the consumer unit there, the lead sheath cable is still actually off this board, so I mean, it's a good job we're in here doing the rewire. We're going to put the board in here still, so obviously it's fed from a sub-main out in the main hall, so we're going to pop this up a bit higher onto the wall, a bit of trunking, and fit a surge protection device in the hall itself rather than in here, so get it as close to the origin as we can. And yeah, nice big understairs cupboard, put a light in there, little socket and a consumer unit. That's what I'm here to do today, get this DB mounted for Matthew while he gives some more cable pulling. You can see he's opened up a nice clear route for himself, and again we're going to actually trace back this cable into the consumer unit and pull out everything that we know we can. Obviously we don't know if there's any switch drops for there's a basement flat below, so we're not going to just willy-nilly start hacking at stuff that's showing no voltage in it with a bolt pen. We are actually going to pull the cable in back from the consumer unit and remove it as far as we can. This is a small little bedroom, so there's just a couple of sockets going in here, and this is actually quite an easy room to do because we've got the floor up at the other side. So Matthew's popped his sockets in there and we're just punching through. You can see he's done the same down there as well. As we lead through into the last part of the job, it's a bigger bedroom. You can see it's there is brick and block behind there. Unfortunately, these walls are studded forward with Latin plaster, so we're not had too much of a difficult job to get those in, a little less destructive. So Matthew's got his rods in there already, and as you see, that's the sockets into this wall, and that one pushes through into that other bedroom I showed you. So we've avoided making a mess the other side of the wall. Always try and reduce that where we can. There's that socket there as well that's going in, and again, lovely high ceilings even in here. Curving's different again, and again we're not damaging the ceilings, so we're going to have to be careful with those ones. You can see where the old sockets were, usual in the skirting board job is. There was actually only one in here, I think, and that's a telephone point. Oh no, there's another one hiding down there, look. So, yeah, nice job to be getting on with. I think Matthew's just got here now, so he's going to make a start, and I'll get on with this consumer unit. Yeah, we'll take a few more shots as we progress along, and see if we can make a decent video of it. Obviously I'll get most of Matthew's work because we need to show the good stuff and not my rubbish. So I'll make sure we get a few shots of him. Let's just go and see what he's up to. He's actually dropped his van in for a service this morning, so he's in a hire car, hopefully a Citroen C1. Got Citroen C1, Matthew?
Nah, I got an MG.
Got an MG?
3 or something.
Ah, it's better than the shit they give me.
It's still slow.
Oh well, at least you're here. Right, we'll make a start and I'll do some more videoing as we've a bit more progress. Catch you in a bit. Right, so we're in the cupboard now where the consumer unit's going to live, and at the moment it's quite low level. See down here, it's virtually on the floor, and we want it up here somewhere it's more accessible to the customer and they can get to it without having to be down feeling around to see what's what, rather than being able to see exactly what's tripped or needs to be isolated. So we're going to pop it up here and run it down in some 100x50 trunking. I'll show you what we've actually got if I spin you around. So, we've got some of the Hager RCBOs, so you can see there. We've got the 40 amp one, which is still the taller one, and then we've got the mini RCBOs there. We've had to go for the MCG surge protector because out in the hall there, that's what we've got. So we're going to drop that in, obviously type 2, and at least that's that tipped off right near the origin. And yeah, so you can see if I pan you around a bit, the actual old board did have an RCD in there, and some of the circuits not on RCD. As I showed you in the earlier video, you can see the old lead sheath cable there, and it is actually still on, and it's part of this flat's wiring. I have quickly IR'd the board, and it's not horrific, but it's low. And yeah, the changes we're making anyway, it's a rewire job. The customer actually wants it rewiring anyway. It's not been tested by us first. There's a program going on in the building itself. They own more of these apartments, and we're going to be working through them all over the next couple of months. You know, part of a much bigger renovation. You know, I'll update you further as the video moves along. I'm going to get on doing this now, and I'll shoot back to show you what we've actually got on the wall and it wired up ready for testing. So I'll jump back on when we've got to that stage. Cheers. So I just thought I'd talk a little bit about this job here. This is actually one I've put onto Matthew for his artistic license, if we're going to call it that. You know, he's a couple of years out of his time now, and he's a very competent and able electrician. But sometimes having that, you know, given the rein to go off and do an installation yourself, but knowing you've got the support of someone with you to snag anything and point you in the right direction when there's a few little questions. He's done loads of rewires now, and you know, he's done a couple quite recently actually where they've been absolutely bang on, and he's just had me checking them off. So with this one, I've kind of left him with the drawings, the contact details of the client. I'm just here as a labour capacity, working for him, and you know, he's doing really well so far. I'm not going to be here tomorrow. He's going to be pressing on with it, see what he gets up to, and you know, that's part of the apprenticeship system. He's now a properly qualified electrician. He's paid as such within my business, but you can't just throw him out there into the wild and expect quality work all of the time. So we work along this sort of basis where he comes and does his stuff, and then I give a little check afterwards. So in this particular, the one, I'm on consumer unit duty, really because I want to do one. I've not done one for ages, so I wanted to have a go at dressing a nice consumer unit up, and yeah, that's my job on this particular renovation. And he's going to be pulling all the wiring in, getting dusty, getting dirty. He's even going to have a go at some of the patching and filling, which he's not aware of yet. So it's a good string to have on your bow. We spend most of our time in commercial testing and chasing around the country, reacting to faults within our client base and stuff. And sometimes it's just nice to set into a domestic job and practice some of those skills that you've not used for a while. So yeah, that's the purpose of this walk around. Matthew doesn't really know it really, but I'm demonstrating his skills and ability and how there's keen and motivated young people out there doing good work, and we're proud of him within my little business and the work he produces, and hopefully this video reflects that. So yeah, we'll see who comes up trumps really, see who the audience thinks the actual finished product around the apartment's better, or if the consumer unit's better. So if anyone is going to comment further on as we move along this installation, let's see what you think. Alright, cheers, enjoy the rest of the episode. Hi, welcome back. Progress has been made. Matthew's been busy around the rest of the flat, and I've been busy in this cupboard. Taking it as far as I can because Matthew's just too slow getting his cables in. So I've popped the consumer unit on the wall, got the RCBOs mounted and in. I wouldn't normally do it that way, to be truthful, but I'm not here tomorrow, and I wanted it up so it can at least get the containment in and around. Bring some cables in ready for me later on this week. So to show you the board, it's now on the wall, and I'll spin you around actually, and then I can see as I talk. So if we look in there, I always stack mine in order, largest first. It's the way I was taught. I know there's some discussion about spacing RCBOs, but the way these circuits are arranged, they're never going to be under a load anywhere near the maximum value for longer than an hour, so it's not a consideration on this job. Again, got the ferrules on, the fly leads, and you can see the actual supplied main neutral tail. I don't actually like those. I think they'd be much better in a ferrule. I've actually got some that would fit, but you know, it's altering it from as supplied by the manufacturer, so I don't know where we stand on that one. I've not thought to change that as yet. You might notice in the, if I zoom out a touch, in the back of the consumer unit, I've actually got these cable tie holders instead of penny washers. So I used to fit penny washers on all of the fixings for the actual consumer unit, but then I thought I was adding like sticky backed cable tie holders and they would always fall off while you were fiddling about trying to get stuff looking neat and usable. So I thought, well, I've got these, maybe these would be good for the actual washer purpose, and you can get a cable tie through them. So I'm going to give that a try on this board. It's not something I've tried before. There's probably some sort of regulation that prohibits using them, but I can't think of any logical reason why you couldn't. The other thing that we'd use are these plastic ones. These are actually easier to get a cable tie through. So obviously we don't cable tie all the conductors together, but it just helps get things neat and tidy. So it's workable for the next person coming along, so they can do the testing. It's not a rat's nest of cables just all lobbed in the back. So I always set a row across the top, and as I show the video later on, once it's finished, you'll see them dressed away. These are the actual bag of, they're all falling everywhere now, but the bag of the clips. I'll spin you back around, show you some of the other stuff. So we have for actually fixing to the back of the consumer unit, I use the self-drilling metal taps you would use for fixing around the side of a warehouse, for example, or in some beams. And yeah, I colour code my cable ties because I'm boring like that. So we've got green and blue for your neutrals and your earths. And you notice there is an earth fly lead in there on the 40 amp RCBO because they don't currently have a miniature version of that. And I've actually purchased the wiha crimp tool, or wiha, however you say it. The reason for that is someone actually mentioned that some of these cheap crimp tools that you can get on Amazon are not calibrated to provide a reliable crimp. I've never had an issue. I've got a cheap 20 quid set myself, and I used that before. I'll spin you around, I'll show you some of the ferrules inside it. Never had a problem with it, but for peace of mind, getting a proper bit of kit that's not probably Chinese rubbish, just for that peace of mind that, you know, the crimp's sound, or at least it should be. So I started using them. A few other little bits and pieces that I've got for later on. There's these Nipex. I think I did a little, I don't think I've released it yet on YouTube, but a video of these. So that's for stripping your flat twin and earth cable, all in one go. It takes the outer sheath off as well. And something I'm really impressed with, I've been using these quite a lot. So these again, wiha, however you say it, croppers. And for the lads at EGTE who take the mick out of the size of my hands all the time, these are 160mm and they're brilliant for, they'll cut anything and they strip nicely. Really impressed with them. So I've got a bigger set of the Klein ones, but for when you're messing around in a consumer unit or something, you know, they're a bit unwieldy. So that's really, really good. And the other bit that I'm impressed with, I don't know if any of you tried these mag bits. So they're magnetic and they'll hold a screw in the end. There's got a little red cap on there, so don't fall out and you can get your fixings in nice and soundly. And also, it's on the top of the consumer unit there. I always do that every job I come to, stick the lockout kit on top, because it's me and Matthew working in this flat today, and whilst, you know, we work together, it's always better to be safe than sorry. He's had a couple of the circuits off in the front room, so we've had to disconnect some of the sockets to get out cables where we need them. So rather than having me flipping something back on, even just by accident, when I'm knelt down in the bottom of this cupboard, you just never know, do you? So he put the lockout kit on. So we'll do a little wander around now, and I'll show you where. So a bit's changed since this morning, and I'll explain the circuit layout as well. You might have seen in the consumer unit there, we've got a selection of breakers. So it's boxed up in here now. It's got its cables up in. Obviously we'll be stripping out the old cable as far as we can, as I said earlier, once we've traced it back to the consumer unit. Use some dry lining boxes in there. I think I'll probably change them to flush metal ones, but it's got the cables in for now. So holding them up in the right position. Got some metal boxes there. So this is all on a 20 amp radial, these bedrooms. So there's only 6 or 7 sockets, just on a 20 amp radial. There's not going to be much load there. So again, he's got his boxes in. So that's the cupboard as you see it. We've actually got a bit of a challenge because we've got to get the cables from there, and it sort of steps up into the rest of the flat. The way they've done it before is just like that. Obviously we're going to find a neater solution to get up there. I think this boxing will come apart so we can try and fish through. Gives you a better look at the board. So it's mounted at a height where it's accessible for a disabled person. This is a ground floor flat, but as I've just shown you, there's steps all over the place. So whether that's ever going to be a possibility of someone in a wheelchair using this flat, I'm very much doubtful. But it makes sense to do it. So it's easily accessible, right near the front of this door. And you can see we haven't actually got all the grommets in because I didn't have them all with me today. But the point of this consumer unit is we're going to put 150 trunking across the top of it and underneath it and up the side, because there's actually going to be a landlord's consumer unit in here as well. So I'll show you as we walk around into where the submains are. It's all changing. This is going to be the building owner's property, and he wants the landlord's board in here, so it's not tampered with by people in the rest, like holiday makers and stuff in the rest of the building. It's just what he's asked for, so that's what we're going to do. And obviously in the second board, it's on a second submain, so we've got a bit of fiddling around there. And as you can see, the old board there, that's going to come out, so that's there for the time being, but that'll come out, trunking up the side, across the top, across the bottom, and then another smaller landlord board just sat up there once this shelving's taken out. So if we scoot around this way, you'll see Matthew's made his mess. He's got reels of cables folded up everywhere. This is where he's taken a bunch of cabling from and around into the kitchen. So he's got his feeds in everywhere now, so he tells me. He's chopped out today, so we're chopped out for all the switches in the kitchen. This is actually all going to be covered because there's the joiner carpenter is going to be putting a very fancy unit up in here. But he's made a nice, neat job of cutting that out, so nice and tidy, as is always the way. Great big clump fell off over here, so he's had to open it up wider than we would have liked, but that's just the nature of an old building when you're working on it. So you can see he's chopped out up there behind this false wall. As I said, this is actually getting redone. We're just using it for now to get our cables into position, and we'll have to work with the plasterers on that one as we get to that stage. I'll show you the actual lighting in this room. There is, they do want some pendants over the breakfast bar, so there's a bit to do there. We have to get access upstairs another day on that one. And as we zoom around into here, he's all set out. He's started to draw his cables into the corners, and yep, making good progress. So he's nipped off now because he's got to go and get his van. He's had it in for a service, and he's been in a little MG for the day. So I've sent him back before the garage shuts, and I'm just finishing off pulling a few of these cables about. There's probably a bit of sweeping up somewhere he's left me to do. We'll go out into the main hall and I'll show you what the submains look like. They're in a bit of a state, as is always the case in property like this. If you see in here, we do have a lovely three-phase head, and then an abomination of metering and cabling. It's just been added to over the years, and as you can see, there's singles on your 16mm twins there just going straight into the meters, so that's a right mess. Obviously we'll be changing all of this anyway. This is the landlord's board, and apparently people who shall we say not the politest when they leave have been knocking this off and plunging the hall into darkness. So he wants that in his flat, so he's got control of it as the building owner. That's his prerogative, I guess. These are, I believe, just let to his family. It's a client we do a lot of work for. He owns loads of properties all over Yorkshire, so we do EICRs for him generally. We don't get bogged down in the domestic too often. But this is a job we're helping him out on because it's fairly big, and yeah, we're hoping to tidy all of this up as we move along through the rest of the building. But certainly in the meantime, you can see in this cupboard, the original actual installation was probably pretty decent, because you've got the 60 amp switches here. I suspect as it's been added to and adjusted, it's been done in a way that's not in keeping with the original install. So you see we've got the 60 amp switch down there. So we'll be taking that off, and I've got an enclosure that we're going to mount in here temporarily with a surge protector in and a main switch for that particular flat, because as I said earlier, we just want to get something safe and set up so we can turn all of this off, and they've got like facilities for power, boiling the kettle and whatnot down in this ground floor flat while the rest of the building's gutted, because there's everyone's coming in to strip it out and get on with that. And you see it's TNS earthing arrangement, so we've got a bit of work there as well. And yeah, that's about where we are at the moment. Get you back around. I'm off and away tomorrow. I've got a job down in Watford, so a bit of a distance from Scarborough. Matthew will be here with the guys getting on, trying to get this pushed a bit closer to completion, and I can come back and get the rest of that consumer unit dressed, and I'll show you some shots of that once it's done. So going back to the circuit layouts again, we've got the 40 amp circuit, which is going to be on the induction hob. We've got a 32 amp circuit, which we're taking over to the oven position, and another one for the kitchen socket radial. It's probably very much over the top for this particular property, but you know, while we've got the place in pieces, it makes sense to do it. They're not. And then we've got a couple of 20 amp radials for the sockets in the front room and the bedrooms, and a couple of 6 amp lighting circuits just to split the lighting up a bit really. So if there is an issue somewhere, you're not plunged into total darkness with the lights all going off on one breaker. And then we've got the radial circuit to the boiler. And yeah, I think that's about it. So we're all set up, ready to go, pressing on with the install as best we can. I hope you found that interesting and useful, and I'll catch up as this moves along. There's the other job we've got going on as well, the old farmhouse, so that's progressing. I'm conscious of showing showing what we've done, but not how we've done it. So there's no time lapses or what we've actually been doing to make things the way they are. I'll just walk you around and show you what's happened, and hopefully that's of interest to some people. If it is, please subscribe, please like, please share. I'm keen to try and put my work out there of my little company, and you know, it's important to show the kind of work that's getting carried out across the country. There's loads of YouTubers who are doing some incredible things, and yeah, have a watch of Nick Bundy's video. He's got one that's not been out too long actually, talking about your consumer unit installations. He did one the other day where he dropped it down the wall. It's very interesting. So I'm not going to show you the ins and outs of how that's all done. There's other people already doing some incredible stuff with that. So go and check their videos out. And yeah, please come back and watch again. Thanks.